the most money you've ever lost and made in a single day?
Ooh, one day? Ooh, do you guys want to hear this? Oh, can I say this on camera?
Lost or made? Oh, what's the most money I ever lost?
In a single day?
I don't know. It sounds like a gambling question.
Whoa. Ooh, the most money I've lost in a day. Can I phone my ex-wife quickly?
I don't know whether to call it a loss because to a certain degree it led me to where I am now. Spent 10K on a mentorship program, which didn't really do too much in terms of practical elements to put me on the map today.
We were implementing a new booking system. At the same time, we were on holidays. So it was the enrollment time, so all the customers were making all the payments. But we were controlling, like the money was coming in. By the time we realized that, a lot of customers paid for the lessons. So we end up losing £15,000.
I don't lose money.
Like $5,000, and that was through a multi-level marketing company.
Lost financially, about 20,000.
3 hours of just location, £300. It was certainly money lost. Yeah, I was depressed afterwards.
My contract was terminated early because obviously we had a contract, but they didn't abide by the contract. So that money that I was like expecting to get, and that was like gone like that because I didn't get normally you get notice before. It was just kind of like, we're not working with you anymore. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. What do I do now? So yeah, that was over £1,000 and I lost that instantly, I suppose.
I don't think I lost money. I would say I invested money, which was 10K.
I don't take money as I paid something and I lost money, to be honest. So no, I in this case, I just never lost money really. I invested in different stuff and it was the best experience ever.
Again, doesn't really count as a loss, would be probably, I think, buying the lens, probably about 200. Again, it's not a lot, because compared to Brandon, he buys in bulk. He spends a lot of money and stuff, right? Yeah. So compared to him, like me losing 200, that's a lot. That's like...
Individuals come to me for either a 4-week session or we do a 6-week program, or if I engage with companies, it's a 12-month contract. Though I don't easily just lose money sort of in an instant, like an investment.
On a trade on the equity markets on London Stock Exchange, I've lost about 600 in a day on a trade.
And kind of throw money at things or get a big office and do a lot of big things rather than starting at a micro level and taking gradual steps. So I've lost a few grand in pounds, but it was a great lesson for me. And now I'm able to look back at that and learn from it.
Can I say synthesizers that I thought were really cool at the time, and then I just haven't used them. But that's only happened with one. But I was just thinking that that's actually something I could have spent on something else. And
War tools.
So it's basically like just a in the box thing where it comes with a keyboard, and you just can create any sound with it.
Losing's got to be Christmas. I mean, it's not anything to do with business. It's like, come on. At the end of the school term, I was like, what am I going to do for these guys? I got 100 students. I don't know what to give.
I had Facebook stocks. I had Square Inc. when it was $9. Square Inc., look it up, the share price, $9, and it went to $100. But I sold a long time before that, right? I still made a good profit. Then I put it into Snapchat. What did Snapchat do to me, boy? I got taken with the hype. And at this moment, I'm still holding the shares and I've lost like 47%.
I used to play poker back in the day. I was a really big poker, buff. I was on a really good winning streak. I remember for about 2 weeks, I probably won about 3 or 4 grand. On the last day, I lost about 1,500 quid in about 2 hours.
But I've lost chunks, so 8K here, 12K there, 10K there. So the chunks that come and go, but that's part of the journey, right?
So the interesting investment was when I joined MM Revelation, and it just didn't go the way I thought it would go. So that was it really. Like I didn't really lose anything. I gained a lot, but it just wasn't what I expected.
I think I've lost a good 5k in a day. I lost it. I was working on a construction project, and it was in Gloucester Road, and I actually paid this guy who was supplying us with marbles. We didn't do a background check on this guy, and we needed the project we just needed the project done. Let's get this guy to do the project. Obviously, didn't have a website. We didn't know where he was. We paid him, obviously, and we never saw him again.
And I kind of left myself in a trade instead of pulling it out very early, and I lost 1-4 in fact, it wasn't a day, but it felt like a day. It was like basically it was one trade, and it just went. How did that feel? Oh man, I'm still trying to recover. No, joking.
maybe $100 on some Bitcoin stock. I think that was during the spike in 2017.
I wouldn't say I couldn't answer that. I don't know. No. I probably have gone home and thought, oh my gosh, I've spent like £200 in a day, and I didn't mean to spend £200 in a day.
Not sure. Couldn't tell you.
Sorry, no juice for you there.
What's the most money you've made in a day?
Ooh, 10k in one transaction. But if the taxman's watching, I didn't really make that much.
£1,000. With one of the properties that we sold, we had a profit of about $40,000 at that stage.
Ooh, I have a juicy one at the moment that gives me a really good income, about $1,700 a month. So that's just one that I see on a monthly basis.
1,000 in a day that was mine, not belonging to another business, through it's about 1,100 through self-employment projects.
The transaction was 12k. That's the most we've ever made in a day. That did make me feel good at that time. That was one of the deals from the same client from before.
So the most money I made was not in business. It was actually through buying the right property in the right place at the right time. But the most money I took in a day, the biggest contract I closed in a day was about a $30K contract, just under. The most money I took cash in a day was about $6,000.
Honestly, I'm rubbish at keeping track. That's why I have an accountant. So I just give everything to the accountant.
At the minute, it's like we done some work for a community that was just like basically any interaction, any social inclusion that you can make. We had something like 12,000 people in 6 weeks. Put a price on that. Do you get what I'm saying? Even if they're paying £5 each.
See, I used to be in property. Most amount of money I made was probably £5,000.
The most money I've lost in a day, probably under £1,000, and the most money I've made in a day, probably just over £1,000.
Just because it's a bit funny, I lost £180 one time, but that was in a wallet and I just dropped it, but that's it. But the most I made was probably £3,000 in a day, probably.
There's 3 ways you can earn from YouTube for me. When you're working with companies. So you can earn per 1,000 views, you can earn by doing a sponsored video, or you can earn through a referral kind of affiliate link. And my referral affiliate link was worth €12 or £10.97 per person. And I got hundreds of people to use this referral link. With my wage and with the kind of affiliate referral, I earned about £4,000 something in a short space of time.
I've made it from doing a job, a cleaning job. One time I had someone working for me and they damaged something. So because I didn't want to go through the insurance, I just paid the money for it out of my own pocket. So, yeah.
How did you feel after that experience?
It's just one of those things that you just have to kind of take on the chin and just be like, oh well, it's happened. Everyone makes mistakes, innit?
That's an embarrassing one, because I have to admit that I lost £60,000 one day through stupid investing. Okay, I was money hungry, thinking I'm going to make a killing here. Invested the 60K to someone who I thought was legit, lost it. Do your blinking homework. Invest in people, but in people that you trust and know. Just don't fritter your money away.
It's the most shameful thing. I think I was renting when I was 14 or 15. So I must have sold my bike for a stolen phone and money for some reason.
That's the first time I heard that one.